What's up fellow hunters, Nox here, welcome to another exciting build video. Today we're going to talk about two amazing new Greatsword builds. I will show a non-augmented budget version first that is super easy to make, and a upgraded version with augments right after to give you some extra ideas. Let's go. We're going to start with the Avenger, a max DPS build that can be used for Strongarm stance as well as any kind of old school playstyle. To get all the essentials, all you need is a talisman with 2 levels of Frostcraft. It doesn't even need any slots. You will definitely be able to get something that works with the build. Weapon of choice is the Scorned Magnamalo Greatsword. 380 attack, nice purple sharpness, and 10% affinity due to the weapon augments. To increase our damage, we have Critical Eye and Weakness Exploit to set us at 100% affinity on weak spots. Along with that, we of course have Critical Boost to get the most out of our critical hits. Then we have Attack Boost for a big increase to raw attack. Next is one of the core skills of the build, Frostcraft. This will increase damage by 5 to 30% depending on the charge level of the gauge. That is a massive amount of extra damage on Greatsword. The gauge decreases when landing attacks but recharges very fast when the weapon is sheathed. This makes for a perfect combination with the Power Sheath Switch skill. The move allows us to quickly reposition while sheathing our weapon at the same time. It also increases attack by 10% for a short period of time. Then we have Offensive Guard. This will give us another 15% damage after blocking an attack at the right moment. This one is a beautiful combination with the Strongarm stance, allowing us to counter attacks with a block and then unleash an incredibly powerful attack ourselves. As a cherry on top, we also have Build Up Boost, giving us an additional 10% damage if the hit applies Blast. Cool thing is, every single one of these damage increases will stack. And to make it even better, we have the combination of Wirebug Whisperer level 3 and Wind Mantle level 1, which will greatly increase Wirebug recovery speed. This makes it possible to use all of the Silkbind moves a lot more frequently, which greatly increases DPS. The focus in the build is a bonus that comes with the waist. The goal here is of course to get 1 level of Frostcraft as an augment or a better talisman. That would allow us to switch out the waist, which we'll see in the upgraded version. The arms will be replaced as well. As a nice bonus, we have a combination of stun resistance, intrepid heart, and shock absorber for added comfort, as well as powder mantle for some additional damage. If you prefer a old school greatsword playstyle or don't want to use strong arm stance, you can replace the helmet with the Risen Teostra one, and the offensive guard can be switched out for anything else you might like. If you choose to keep these exact parts, the augment recommendations will look like this. With a Frostcraft level 2 talisman, getting the 3rd level as an augment is going to be the first goal if you want to switch out the waist. After that, you want to go for as many levels of Build Up Boost and Mail of Hellfire as you can. Now we're going to take a look at my version of the build that includes augments and some part variations. We'll get to what exactly my augments are in a moment as well. The talisman I'm using for this one has 3 levels of Frostcraft. This upgraded version of the build is an absolute monster. Most of you already know that I don't use any mods, so this is very manageable. The first thing I did was switching out the waist, and you have 2 good options here. Either the Risen Shagaru or the Scorned Magnamalo waist. Both have good value for the build. And the arms got replaced with the Risen Valstrax ones. Switching out those 2 parts gave me plenty of additional slots and customization options. We now have maximum build up boost and 2 levels of Mail of Hellfire for a big damage increase. Next I went for the guard up skill so my strong arm counter can block any attack. Bloodrite for health regeneration and Coalescence to go along with some of the other skills. I also added Hellfire Cloak level 3, but that is a completely optional skill and can be replaced for anything else you like. With all that, the overall damage output has gotten a significant upgrade. By the way, Frenzied Bloodlust will have very little activation time on this build since the effect deactivates when sheathing, so you can freely use it for the skill plus augmenting and get rid of the skill if you like. This is what my current augments are looking like if you're trying to recreate a similar version of the build. You can of course get any of the augments on whichever part you like. As you can see, these are nothing crazy at all. 3 levels of build up boost and 2 levels of Mail of Hellfire. The arms and the waist are perfect for the skill plus augmenting method. Both have skills that are not required for the build, like the Frenzied Bloodlust I mentioned a moment ago. The only reason I didn't use skill plus on the waist is because I already had one with Mail of Hellfire. Next, we have the Retaliator, a ridiculously powerful rage slash build. Weapon of choice is the exact same one as before, but we are going to see a few other weapon options later on. Our base damage essentials are the same as for the previous build. Max attack boost, Frostcraft, and a big stack of affinity based skills. But since this one is specialized for using Rage Slash, we do have a few differences. The biggest one is Sneak Attack level 3. This skill is an absolute hidden gem for any Rage Slash build. When hitting a monster from behind its middle point, we get a 20% damage boost. That is massive. For most weapons, hitting a monster from behind its middle point seems kind of unpractical, but a Greatsword with Rage Slash is a different story. Since we are basically able to absorb monster attacks, it actually becomes very easy to trigger Sneak Attack. All monsters have attacks that move them forward, so if we are charging a Rage Slash, we're gonna absorb that hit. And because the monster moved forward, we are now either behind it or at the side of it, activating the Sneak Attack and giving us a huge damage boost. Let me demonstrate. Taking this hit for example, which was basically 5000 damage, 20% of that came from Sneak Attack, meaning that skill just gave us a 1000 damage increase to that attack. That is insane, especially considering how cheap it is to fit this skill into the build. And in case you don't want to use it, you can still just replace the decorations for anything else you might like. Another very nice addition here is Resentment. As long as we have any amount of red health, this will give us anywhere from 5 to 25 additional attack based on the level of the skill. Taking a hit while charging Rage Slash always leaves us with a bit of red health, making this a very nice combination. Build up boost is missing for the moment, but will of course come into play when augmenting. We also have max defense boost to lower the amount of damage we're taking when absorbing any attacks during a Rage Slash. Along with that, we have one level of Blood Rite so we can heal ourselves in the process. Together with full stun resistance and Intrepid Heart, this build is incredibly tanky while dealing huge amounts of damage. Depending on personal preference, focus is something you might not want to have on a Rage Slash build, but since the waste will get replaced when augmenting anyway, you don't have to worry about it. And even if you keep the waste, you can easily get rid of 1 or 2 levels by using the skill plus augmenting method. The augment recommendations are very similar to the previous ones. The first goal is to get as much build-up boost in here as you can. After that, you can decide for yourself if you want to use Mail of Hellfire. It's a good additional damage boost, but keep in mind that it lowers your defense. The upgraded version of the build is basically the budget one on crack. We now have maxed out Resentment for the full 25 attack increase as long as we have any red health, as well as maxed out build-up boost and Mail of Hellfire. The overall damage output has gotten a significant upgrade. A welcome bonus for me is that the Divine Blessing on my talisman actually becomes a beneficial extra skill here, but it's of course not required. The augments are very similar since we're mostly using the same parts for both builds, so we don't have to augment an entire new set of armor pieces, which is great. I lost Coalescence on the waist, which is actually a nice skill to have on Rage Slash builds, but since I got a slot upgrade along with Mail of Hellfire, I'm definitely not gonna complain. Now that we covered all versions of the builds, let's take a look at the weapon options. The first one is of course the Scorned Magnamalo Greatsword, as we've already seen it. However, you can also use it like this, augmenting for max attack and a bit of extra blast. This version of the Greatsword gives you slightly higher DPS if your build or the circumstances of the hunt allow you to still hit 100% affinity. We often forget how many additional affinity sources are in the game now. It is very easy to hit 100% affinity without the affinity augment. And then we have the Chameleos Greatsword. Is it better than the Scorned Magnamalo one? No. I consider it to be kind of a side grade. The poison can actually deal more bonus damage than the blast, but we also lose the stopping force and the part breaking benefit that comes with blasts going off. I personally use the first two options the most, but you can pick whatever you like. Make sure to check out the other builds for all kinds of weapons on the channel so you don't miss anything you might enjoy. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.